Welcome to Furniture Redesigned by MBM. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Furniture Redesign. Today I'll be doing this old dresser. Now it is a beautiful piece, beautiful, and it does have a mirror. And here's a look at the mirror. Now I have the mirror sitting off to the side on the floor because it's too heavy for me to pick up. And it also has a bed. Now here's a closer look at the bed. It's a full-size bed, has great bones, very pretty bed, and it also has the same detailing on the poles as the dresser. It also has a footboard. Now, because it's really short, I thought about raising it, but I don't want to mess with the integrity of the bed, so I'll do it for a child's room. On the dresser, love the hardware. It kind of reminds me of a French provincial piece, even down to the legs. So it's very unique. The top drawers, as you can see, sit back. And I'm missing only one piece of hardware. And also the veneer on this piece, there is a piece missing and this piece is coming back. So I'll probably wind up painting this. So I'll fix this little slot here and wind up painting the piece. Now I'm looking and I haven't saw any name on the piece, the box in the drawer, but I don't see any name. But it's quite a heavy piece. So the first thing I want to do is get started cleaning the piece, sanding back, and making repairs. So stay tuned as I make these minor repairs. Also on the mirror, I have to find some, what are these? Little, I don't know, cappers to go on the top. They're missing there, but they are on the headboard. Before I clean or do any repairs, I want to first start by taking the hardware off the piece. Time to clean. I'm using TSP and water, and I did a mixture of it in this spray bottle or by the directions. I'm using TSP, and this will take away all of the grease, dirt, and grime. Because this is an older piece, even though it may appear clean, there could be a lot of grease that's in the piece, and the TSP will take that away as well as some of the shine. I'm using warm water to scrub that TSP in. I'm also scrubbing it because it has been sitting in my basement and I have been sitting paint on top of it, and I want to make sure that I get all of that out as well. When cleaning the piece, it's the perfect time to check for any damages or any repairs that need to be done. And this is also the perfect time to make sure that you number those drawers. And this is why it's so important that you clean your piece. This is just to look at the water. Now we're ready to rinse. I have fresh water. And now I'm ready to rinse my piece. And this is important because you don't want to leave the cleaner. It will affect your paint or how your paint adheres. Before I get started sanding, I want to make my repairs on the veneer. I've broken off the part that's really loose, and now I want to take my wood glue and I want to slide it under what's remaining and glue it down. Once I have it glued down, before I add clamps, I'm going to go ahead and add wood filler to the part that is broken off. I'm using my Gorilla wood filler to level out the veneer. I might have to add a second layer just to smooth it out. I have my wood filler in place, and now I'm just going to use these 3 clamps to clamp the veneer down to make sure it glues tightly. I also used that wood filler to fill the side where there was a gouge. Now I want to turn my attention to the top of this dresser. Now my piece is solid wood, but for whatever reason they used a laminate on the top. So because of that, I just want to take a 220 grit sandpaper. I want to sand off any paint that I might have gotten on the piece. Also, I want to rough up the sides and just scuff up the top just a bit. Once I'm done with that, I'll take a damp cloth, and this is just to wipe away all of the dust and the debris. And because it's damp, I want to take an old t-shirt, which is my lint-free cloth, and I want to wipe the top of the laminate down before I start my reticket wood. I will be doing the reticket wood on top of this piece. Now, I do have another video where I used a reticket, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below, which will go into better detail. But this, I'm just going to mix it up and use a chip brush to apply it to the top of my piece. I'm going to apply the first coat, just get it on here as best I can. Once I get it on the top of the dresser, I'll use slow or smooth strokes, long strokes, to make sure that the grain is going in one direction. I am back, and I just want to let you know I decided not to do the headboard and the footboard because there is some upholstery that I want to do on that. So I'm just going to continue to work on the dresser and the mirror. And my reticket wood is dry on the top. And now, after I position my camera here so you can see better, I want to take my 220 grit sanding disc, and it's been used, and I just want to lightly go over the top of the dresser. And I'm doing this to make sure that there's no debris to make lumps or bumps in the top of the dresser before I start to add my second coat. And of course, I'm using my lint-free cloth, which is a t-shirt, to make sure that I get the dust away. And now I'm just going to apply that second coat of reticket the same way I applied the first. So again, if you want to see how the headboard or the bed turns out, you do have to tune in again. Make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell on so you'll know when that video comes live. Now that I have it on, I have this tool which came in a kit, and I just want to take the teeth and I just want to go and make some ridges in my wood. also use the smaller end. I'm just gonna go back over it one more time. And I'm just adding different layers of texture to my wood. We're gonna let this dry for 2 hours and we'll come back in the morning for the next step. It's the next day. My glue should be dry, so let's just remove these clips and sand away the wood filler. When I'm satisfied with sanding the corner, I turn to a damp cloth to wipe away all the dust and the debris. Now I want to take my 220 grit sandpaper and I want to scuff sand my dresser and the mirror. And here I go again with my damp cloth, making sure that I get all the dust off the piece. Now I'm ready to use my go-to primer, my Zinsser 123, and I'm going to use this short handle angle brush to apply the primer. I will be using chalk paint and it's probably not necessary to use the primer, but I want to make sure I don't have any bleed through, so I'm just going to put one coat on and smooth it out with my sandpaper. My retiqued wood is also dry. I'm going to take a cotton t-shirt, wipe down the dust, and I'm going to be using my Minwax espresso stain to put on the top. I just want to rub it into the wood and then I'll wipe back. I have the espresso stain on. I'm going to let it dry, and I might come back to brighten it up with a little golden color. My thin coat of primer is dry, and I find that there is no bleed through. I'm going to use my 220 grit sandpaper, and I want to lightly sand the top, making sure I didn't have any debris in the primer. Then I'm going to take my white t-shirt and I'm going to wipe the dust left behind from the light sand. Now that that's done, it's time for paint. I'm using today Rust-Oleum milk paint in the white. I have my foil line tray, I have a nap roller, and I am ready to get started. I want to stir up my paint, make sure it's mixed up. Now this is the first time I have tried milk paint, so let's see how it works out for us. Now it looks like I'm getting pretty good coverage with my first coat of paint. So to let you guys know all the products that I use, I will leave a link to them in the description box below. And I'll also paint over my round disc on the dresser and mirror. I'm going to also use my short handle angle brush to cut into these creases and curves. Now I just want to take a moment to thank my subscribers and my viewers. Thank you for all your comments and your thumbs up. I love it. Keep them coming. All right, I'm ready to add my second coat of paint, the milk paint, to my piece. Now, it's been about an hour and the paint should be dry. But for you beginners, so you don't have to keep washing your brush, I put mine in a Ziploc bag, so I'm ready for that. And my paint, I just take a plastic bag and tie my paint tray up in that. Also, you want to make sure you use your foil for your trays. This way you don't have to keep buying new trays. Now, this tray has been used before, but now I'm using the foil line. So those are just a few tricks to make sure that you can save a few dollars doing the process. So I'm ready to add that second coat of paint. And also, what I have to say about the milk paint, the roller, it goes on a little not smooth. So before I add my final coat of paint, I want to make sure that I sand, because it does go on a little bumpy. I don't know if it's because I'm rolling it or should I brush it, but I'll know what to do in the future. While that second coat of milk paint is drying, I decided to clean my hardware. I have half water and half vinegar and baking soda, and I'm just going to boil my hardware. And while I wait for that, I may as well have myself a cup of tea. So I'm going to allow my hardware to come to a boil, and I am going to relax for the next half an hour before I start to clean the hardware. Break time is over and we're ready for the next step. I have the hardware in the bathroom. I have my soft scrub Barkeeper's Friend, and I'm going to grab some gloves and put them on. I poured my Barkeeper's Friend in the pot, and I'm using a Brillo pad, and I'm just going to start to scrub. I'm going to continue to clean my hardware, but I'm going to rinse it off to show you how it's cleaning up. And here's a look at the difference in cleaned and not cleaned. So now that all my pieces have been cleaned and dried off, I decided to go ahead and use some gilding wax to brighten them up a little bit more. I want them really to be a bright gold to go on the white piece. I'll be applying it with a painter's brush. And here's a quick peek at how my hardware turned out. Absolutely fabulous. To replace the top 3 pulls, I found these knobs in my collection. They're a little bit too bright, so I'm going to do the same thing, add gilding wax to them as well. And here's a look at what the gilding wax looks like in comparison to the brass. I'm back downstairs and I want to take my gilding wax and I want to go around the carved edges of my dresser, and I'll be using this small painter's brush to do so. I'm going to also use that gold gilding wax, use my finger as well as the brush, and I want to use it on the metal circles that's on the mirror as well as the base of the dresser. Heading for the finish line, I'm ready to apply some polyurethane wipe-on poly on the top of my piece. I shouldn't have to, but I want to give it a little extra protection. So I want to add 2 coats of the wipe-on poly on top. And I'll be using my cotton cloth to do so. I'm going to let this coat dry, add a second coat, and we'll come back to do a top coat on the bottom part of the dresser. Now it's time to add my top coat to the bottom portion and drawers of my dresser. I'll be using Varathane today in a satin finish. I'm going to use the foam applicator to apply my top coat. Now it's time to add the hardware to the drawers. This is a 3-piece hardware. You put one piece in, add the middle piece, and then add the final piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this hardware added to the drawers. To finish off my dresser, I'm going to use my Howard's Feed and Wax. I'm going to condition the inside of my drawers, and this will also give it a wonderful smell. I'm going to do this to all my drawers, and we'll come back for the reveal. I think my dresser and mirror turned out absolutely beautiful. Look at the retiqued wood top. The color is rich and it truly looks like wood. And even though I used gel stain, I went ahead and added 2 coats of polyurethane to give it this wonderful satin finish. And you could see where I used the gilding wax on those round discs on the dresser and mirror. And 2 coats of the polyacrylic by Varathane on the base and the mirror. The inside of the drawers have been waxed and conditioned and have a delicious orange fragrance. So if you're watching and you're not a subscriber, now's the time to hit the subscribe button. You also want to make sure you hit the notification bell so you will know when I upload new videos. It's time to say thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.